Grace and peace. Welcome to another episode of the TBT Show. I'm Anthony Moten. My friend and brother and partner in crime, as always, is the Right Reverend Elder Sean P. Aguilar. We're going to ask him how he's doing, and he's going to say better than he deserves. Anything other than that?
Better not deserve. Better not deserve. I can't find another way to describe it.
That's it. And thank you for joining us again on this week. There is so much going on in our land and the country, and a lot that we want to discuss. I believe the freshest, the newest, is last night. President Biden did his State of the Union address. I was too busy watching
Golden Girls.
You know what? That would have been a good option too.
Golden Girls marathon.
I was watching LeBron eclipse Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the all-time.
I know you were going to say that.
I mean, that's what I was. I'm telling you.
I'm glad that you watched.
Yeah, I wanted to catch that moment, live, and I had so much other things going on, so I really only saw, a couple plays before he eclipsed him. And and
still continue to remain in the same place in history. But we appreciate that you watched the game.
Okay, we'll discuss that later. And so I didn't get a chance to see the State of the Union or any commentary around it. It was almost like it didn't happen. It was almost like even.
Well, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle with everything that's going on. I guess you got a lot of stuff going on in terms of everything going on in Memphis, things that are going on, people getting laid off, these big tech companies making a lot of changes.
But see, I thought it would be more, there would be a more pull for it to see it because of so much going on other shores. You got the, the Ukraine thing still, so it's like then, the Chinese spy.
Yeah, the spy balloon.
So I figured there would be a draw to watch what he was going to say.
What he was going to say.
But it was almost like my nightly Twitter check before I go to sleep didn't even
bump the radar. No. And I feel like the State of the Union, the address, the entire production that it's become in recent years, is that it's so much of a show. It's no longer
about the address itself.
Right. It's political theater. So it's like everybody's opportunity to dress up and go and play their part in the pageant. As opposed to in times past, somebody could say that, hey, we got these problems.
Right.
Now you can't even say that you got problems because then it's, gotcha. He's weak there and it's because of him and all this different stuff. It's like, hey, inflation is happening. Okay. The Republicans would have you think that COVID didn't affect it, that printing a bunch of money at the Federal Reserve didn't affect it. None of these things. It's only because Joe Biden's America.
Right.
It's like you get these, these type of campaign ad type of communication. And, these type of things I think lead to no one really caring anymore because it's not politics in terms of here are statesmen and stateswomen that are doing the nation's business. It's a bunch of people that have gone into business for themselves, that are self-serving, and they're just playing their part in the political pageant.
Wow. Did he say anything? Only thing that I've seen online is he said something about unity. And I was like, yeah, that was Sunday morning at anybody's church. But it's
right.
Like, what? Did he say anything worth?
Well, he talked about some bipartisan infrastructure bills that have gone through, basically, trying to, talk about some of the accomplishments that have happened. which there have been, some laws passed and things of that nature. But basically he wanted to say, hey, look, we're in a best job situation. Unemployment is low. Wages are strong. The deficit is down because of, some things that are expiring. Just basically, given the report card that, hey, this is what we've done to address the problems. Talked a little bit about the trade deficit. Now here's where we got a sore spot, is when he started to go into Medicare and Social Security, because he stated that some Republicans, which I'm only aware of one, but I guess one is some, I guess one is some, but they got really upset because he said, hey, some of our Republican friends want to sunset Social Security. Ooh, they got mad about that.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Even though that is accurate.
How dare you say the truth?
Right. How dare you say in broad daylight the stuff that we said behind closed doors. But actually, there's one guy on record that said, hey, we should have every federal entitlement program basically up for renewal every year, which doesn't work. It's not practical. You cannot have, things like Social Security and Medicare on an annual basis to re-up.
Okay, so
like some subscription, you can't treat it like
What if
Netflix. Someone
said, okay, let's do that, and then let's do that with the salaries of politicians as well?
Correct.
And that's why I think a lot of Americans don't trust or like politicians.
Well, and then you get, MTG in there, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
mm-hmm.
and she's calling him a liar, kind of like how they did Obama before.
Right.
But, he takes a different strategy. I kind of find this interesting. Whereas Obama kind of brushed it off a little bit. He's like, hey, dude, call my office. We'll give you a copy of the report where he said it. Like, in real time, he's responding in real time to the hecklers like a stand-up comedian would.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, Joe, I see you, buddy.
Right.
Taking it head on. That's good stuff. I kind of like that. I can appreciate that. He talked about some more infrastructure stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So it's pretty standard fare.
Right.
But then anytime you have the State of the Union, for whoever is the president, the president is going to give, the State of the Union address. And then a few minutes later, there's always going to be a response from the other party. This year, that came from Sarah Huckabee Sanders, former White House communications director, and currently the governor of Arkansas.
I only says the state of affairs in Arkansas, but okay.
She's the daughter of Mike Huckabee, who was also, I want to say, the governor of Arkansas. He's been a Republican stalwart for years and years and years.
Has a show. For president?
He did. Attempted. Yeah, so he had a presidential run, so on and so forth. And so you got Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Now hers was kind of interesting. It ran like a campaign ad. There was very little substance to it. So, like, at least Joe Biden is coming across with, hey, here are the numbers. Mm-hmm. The only thing you could try to say is, well, maybe, he's nitpicking at this, or he's kind of stretching that. But he's coming to you with facts and figures and policies and things of that nature. She comes out and says, the dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. It's between normal and crazy. That's how she starts out.
Which I don't necessarily disagree.
Well, I mean, but it's interesting how you frame it.
Right.
Normal and crazy.
Right.
Not right and wrong, not left or right, not Democrat, Republican. Normal or crazy. And I just feel like that's really dismissive. And there's a lot of things I don't agree with on the far left.
Right.
You know this. Anyone that listens for any short stretch of time, you're going to come across that material. but it's really dismissive to just call someone crazy.
But by and large, and I'm not saying Democrats are different, but by and large,
well, they do the same thing. Some of them, the Republicans are crazy.
Here's the difference, and maybe it's just me, but that's just almost like where Biden is. Mm-hmm. He bipartisan. He wants to work
right.
Like across. Usually, if it's a Republican, it's like,
no, we're
right, you're wrong. That's it.
Right.
You know,
we're gonna do what we want to do. We're gonna do what we want to do.
And that's why
you can go fly a kite.
Right. And usually, and right. That's why people equate most Republicans to being dismissive.
Right. But she comes out the gate hard on the normal versus crazy. She kind of goes over, her experience. So she plays the sympathy card. I got cancer, this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I'm going to beat it, or I've beaten it, all this different stuff.
You're crazy, but don't say anything about me because I got cancer.
Right, exactly. It's like real quick.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, y'all are crazy. These other people, the guy you just heard talking, he's crazy. I got cancer. Feel sorry for me. Here you go. So then she goes into some CRT stuff, of course, typical. So she goes through, what she's doing, executive orders to eliminate CRT. What I find interesting is that people, on the Republican side talk about they're eliminating CRT. And I'm like, can you show me the evidence of where it was in the first place? It's kind of like hiring, pest control, but they never show you the body.
Right.
It's like, well, what did you remove?
Right.
Those type of things. So she keeps, going on. And what she sounds like is really like a campaign ad. She goes to the, economy. Obviously, nothing is anybody's fault except for Joseph Robinette Biden. Mm-hmm. Everything was perfect. It was a golden age, and he came in and ruined it.
Right.
The border.
Right.
Of course, got to hit the border. That's a greatest hit. And didn't really address the historically low unemployment rate and all these different things. So she's not really giving. What's disappointing is that she's not giving any policy, no facts, no data, no statistics. It's all
rah.
It's all like, hey, let me fire up the base, and I know how you feel, and it's just all feelings.
So do you think this is her first, pitch at a run for something?
Well, I mean, she won the governorship.
Okay.
I mean, you mean like on a national stage?
Yeah.
I don't think
you think she's going to run for president?
No, I don't think so. But speaking of people running for president, this is one thing that I found really interesting in the whole deal. Now, remember, she was the communications director for President who?
Trump.
President Donald Trump. She talked about this story after she, accused Biden of being, crazy. Mm-hmm. Accused Biden of either not being willing to stand up to a woke mob or in bed with the woke mob. Either way, she's like, he's either too weak or stupid.
Right.
To do this job. He's not keeping us safe at the border, all this different stuff. But one thing I thought was interesting, she told this story about her and her family on Christmas one year, and that she had to leave under the cover of darkness to go with the president on some, foreign mission, right? But she would say the president, right? Now, most of the time when a president is not currently the president, you don't refer to him as the president. Is President Trump? Is President Obama?
Right.
You still address them as president. Right. President Obama will be President Obama regardless of his occupation of the office.
Right.
Because he was at one time the president. Right. So we afford that respect.
Right.
For those that have held the office. President Bush, or you might say, George W. Bush.
Right.
To distinguish from Bush Sr.
And Daddy.
Right. Versus George H.W. Bush.
Right.
President Clinton, so on and so forth. She says the president obviously referring to Trump, but she carefully avoids saying his name. I thought that was interesting. Now she's the communications director for Trump.
But see, if you remember those days when she was the communications director, that was a total debacle. That was a hot mess in there.
Terrible. So obviously she's trying to distance herself. And what I'm saying is this goes along the lines of the Koch brothers. They're trying to distance themselves. All these people, they're trying to distance themselves from Trump, but without saying, I don't like Trump or I'm against Trump. It's weird. It's like Trump is like political Beetlejuice. You cannot say this dude's name. Right. The Candyman. Whatever. If you say Trump, oh, he's going to appear and it's a problem. Or the Candyman. And so she took great pains to not say Trump. But of course, everybody knows you didn't get in there with Obama. Right. You didn't get in there with Biden.
Right.
So, but she tries to paint this picture that, we left under the cover of night and it was dark and we got on Air Force One and we went to this war-torn part of Iraq and we showed up and the troops didn't know that we were going to be there. And the president comes in to this mess hall and guess what they chant? Like we don't all know what they would chant. They would chant USA. And she's like, they chanted USA. USA. And I mean, delivered it straight just like that. Like it was really weird how she delivered the USA thing.
She's really weird. And that's why I'm like, it only shows the state of affairs in Arkansas that she won governor because she is like, even people that I don't share the same political views, like, you could be like, oh, that's stately.
Right. I can see your classy point. So like John McCain's a great example.
Right.
John McCain was a guy that it's like, hey, he's a Republican. I may not agree with everything, what he does, but I respect it. Number one, the guy was a war hero. Number two, he tried to reach across the aisle. And number three, he was just a statesman. And we don't like, I can't think I can't think of someone in the Senate or in Congress. The only person I can think of that's like fits the model of what I think is a statesman is John Kerry.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? He's like the last guy. Maybe Mitt Romney. I think I might be able to. I think I could put. I think I could get with Mitt Romney. He's a statesman. I can go there. Right. I can say those two guys. Right. But it used to be, Powell. McCain. We had multiple people, not people that get in fights in the bathroom.
Right.
You got Boebert and Green getting in a fight in the ladies' room, and they're on the same. They're both Republicans. Right. They're supposed to be on the same team.
Right. Look how far we've fallen.
Right. And it's just so disappointing.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing. He did congratulate Nancy Pelosi and called her the greatest Speaker of the House in history. Right after he was like, this is kind of funny. He looked, because, Kevin McCarthy is the speaker now. And so he's over his left shoulder. So he's on the right side of the screen. So he's like, hey, I don't mean to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you. This is what Biden said. And then right after that, then he's like, and I want to congratulate Nancy Pelosi, who's the greatest speaker of all time, Speaker of the House of all time. So it's like, as soon as he's done here, but by the way, you'll never be as good as her. Right. Ah, man. So, that was interesting. But no, I think the whole deal is just political theater, and it's just lost. It used to be a serious thing. Like it used to be a serious thing where I think even people that are sports fans, you would not be watching sports
that on that night. Yeah. And every channel
would flip to it, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
But now it's like, we know what's going to happen. Every State of the Union, unless something drastically changes in our country and culture, is going to be one side saying how great they are, the other side saying how bad they are, and in between is just going to be a bunch of taking shots.
Right.
Heckling, all this foolishness.
I got a notification from CNN last night. That was, hey, LeBron James breaks the score thing.
Yeah.
By the way, the State of the Union.
By the way, yeah,
it's like, okay.
Right.
Okay. I don't know. I guess part of it's sad to see that, and here's how I equate it. When I came up, there was, a lot. As kids, there were a lot of us. So every school had, of every, junior varsity, freshman, sophomore. You got A team, B team,
right,
C team, and it's almost like now America's playing the greatest game with C team players. Like, guys that, just because you can do it doesn't mean you're supposed to do it. And again, you somebody like Sarah Huckabee is like, you weren't good as a press secretary. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I hear you.
So for your reward, we're going to give you a state.
We're going to give you a state.
It's like, okay.
Right.
We know.
I was like, wait a minute. How did you skip all this different stuff? Like,
a lot of steps.
It's like, man, we didn't go for mayor of a city. We didn't go for city council. We didn't go for state rep, state senator. None of this stuff. We went straight to government, because I don't remember her holding any other political office.
But it's part of the course.
No other elected office. Let me say that.
How many other political offices did Donald Trump hold? Oh,
well, of course, but that's a whole. I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, that's that's the direction we're going.
But what I'm saying is that that's not the norm. Normally, you don't have somebody, go straight. Their first elected office is president of the United States.
Right. And normally even you don't have people even try that.
Right. Even Ronald Reagan was the governor of California first. So usually there's some steps. There's the songwriter said there's levels to this.
Yeah. But you look at like Herschel Walker, almost what, you know what I'm saying? It's just like,
we don't need a walker.
Yeah. We need a runner. A runner. See, that's where we are. It's like, it doesn't, we live in a culture where it doesn't matter.
Personality. It's a cult of personality.
It is.
So it's a popularity contest, because you could run a glass of orange juice as the Republican candidate in some places, and they'll get 40%. That glass of orange juice will get 40%. I'm not playing.
Absolutely.
If they could get an inanimate object to raise his hand or press a button, yay or nay, with the party line, they would totally do it.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. So, I mean, that's just the culture we live in, is amplified by, other things that we're already personality driven.
Yeah.
So you take a personality driven society and, turn on the political lights.
It's the American idolization of politics.
It is. I mean, and we've seen it in other spheres, and now to see it in politics is just like, yeah, we've fallen into the great abyss at this point. Like, you
remind me of the Rick James skit on Dave Chappelle. Yeah. Let's go to the abyss.
Yeah. That's what it is at this point. It's just super sad.
Yeah, it's tough, but in looking at it, it's like, hey, this is just par for the course. This is just a new normal of what it is. I remember, as a young adult, having to, like, we would get a bonus. It was a school assignment to turn in a report on the State of the Union address. It's like, you're watching it to get that extra credit. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Now you ask these kids, did you watch the State of the Union address? The what?
The what?
The who did what again?
Right. Was Drake on it?
And I can't too much blame him. I can't too much blame him. I didn't watch it.
But it's not even serious. That's the thing. Right. It's not serious anymore.
Right.
It's not serious. And that's a shame because, we can't operate if everyone's a jester.
Right.
Court can't operate like that.
Right. Right. I get it. And, you don't take anything seriously when everything is coming from the jester.
The jester. And so it's it's getting kind of sad because like when I'm looking at this, I remember seeing times past where there was substantive it wasn't a debate, but basically, the State of the Union and the rebuttal, there were facts, data, statistics, and actual policy positions. Now, it's no policy. There's no facts, position.
All feelings.
Yeah, all feelings. And so it's
normal and crazy
campaign. It's just one long campaign ad.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's where we are. So, again, I'm prayers always for our elected officials. Pray they do what's in the best interest of the people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not hopeful. Not hopeful at all.
Yeah, no. I mean, we know what's going to happen with the kingdoms.
Right.
Gold, silver. Right. It's just following the pattern.
Right. Right.
We shouldn't be surprised.
Right.
At some things being as they are.
Right.
Right. But from America at large to Black America, right. You were telling me about a situation between a couple brothers.
Yeah, and and again, I wanted to kind of talk around this because it seems as though, and it could just be me, and the general kind of cloud over it, going into the specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Black folk are more critical of Black folk than they are of everyone else. So anybody that knows me, intimately, I have a great issue with Stephen A. Smith. I like his accomplishments, like what he's done, and don't hate the brother at all. But I just hate how he highlights certain people,
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be the going thing to get your rates up now. So Stephen A. is real hard on Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie won't go to work. And he's always Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see a picture of Jerry Jones and he's like, oh, I don't think he meant anything by it. Like, right. It's just, you could see the difference in how he approaches, his issue with, Black American and his issues with white Americans. And so I think Shannon Sharpe has taken that as well. He's just real critical in certain areas where I feel like he shouldn't be. So one day, Shannon on his show is very critical of Ed Reed's dealing with the fallout at Bethune-Cookman.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Ed is who Ed is. And nobody's saying he handled everything right. He always said what was right, whatever. But he's a passionate guy.
Right.
And that passion sometimes causes him to, say some things in ways where maybe shouldn't be said or, in platforms that shouldn't be said, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I blame that on passion. I'd rather have to turn somebody's passion down than to have to turn it up.
Yeah.
Like he's a passionate guy and that, that can bowl well. So he's, Ed says some things. Shannon goes at him about how he says some things. And so now you have this, brawl of brothers, and Ed in his response to Shannon says some things that I think is well worth discussing. So Ed Reed's response to Shannon Sharpe is, hey, if you really feel like that, you could reach out to me.
Yeah.
Like,
So he actually released screenshots of their DMs.
Yeah.
And so he says, bro, I support you if you, capital IF, you took offense to anything I said. I apologize. Think you're going to make a hell of a coach. God didn't think that was the right situation for you. All the best, praying hands, and so here's where Ed Reed comes. That was Shannon Sharpe. Mm-hmm. Ed Reed comes in. You said a lot of wrong about me, player.
And he actually did, because Shannon's calling the situation from the outside. Mm-hmm. And again, that's what Ed Reed's saying. Hey, Shannon, you're a Hall of Famer. I'm a Hall of Famer. Hey, if you wanted to reach out to me to get the specifics,
right,
you could have.
Now, here's why I don't. This is where I like where Ed took it, but then Shannon shut it down, and I feel like Shannon's wrong for this. So he says, so Shannon responds, like what? Ed Reed says, let's talk. No, you did this on TV. Let's talk. Sit in your spot. Shannon, so he's like, hey, correct it in the arena.
That you made the mistake.
That you made the mistake.
I feel it. But that's Ed Reed too. Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
I like that. I think that's in line. Shannon Sharpe responds, Ed, I voiced an opinion. It's not that deep. Wish you all the best, but I'm done with this. Praying hands.
I'm done with this because I've been checked and challenged.
Exactly. So now that this isn't going the way that I want it to go, now I'm done with it.
Right.
So basically, I can throw a rock and hide my hand.
Right. It was important enough for me to voice an opinion
without talking
air.
To you.
Right.
But
not important enough to get to the bottom, the details of what went down.
Right.
Now, here's what Ed said on one of his videos, of which I loved. I was like, man, he's killing him, of which he is. Mm-hmm. Ed Reed said, man, I wasn't going to Bethune-Cookman to make any money.
Right.
He's like, man, I care about these kids. Mm-hmm. These kids that now were coming because of me, whatever. He said, I was trying to make Bethune-Cookman and through BC, every other HBCU better. Mm-hmm. His question was, where have you been? Now here's where I like where he was going with it, because Shannon Sharpe went to a HBCU. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons, and we talked about it last week, one of the reasons why HBCUs struggle financially is because alumni don't give back.
Right. But there's a reason for that.
There's a reason.
There's a reason they could. Well, for some, some have a legitimate reason. Some just don't want to give. But
right.
But for the ones that have and would like to give, but they won't give, is because they feel like it's not going to be stewarded properly.
Right. And I get that. I get that. But here's what I noticed, and I thought about it too, because Ed Reed said, "Where have you been? What have you done? Where's Jerry Rice?
Oh, brother, where art thou?"
and he called out some other names, of some guys that have made a lot of money that came from HBCUs and really haven't done anything as far as giving back. And here's what I thought about. Deion Sanders did more financially for an HBCU in 2 years,
right,
than guys like Shannon Sharpe have done their whole careers.
Because they already got what they needed out of it.
And here's my thing. And Deion showed the pattern. Nobody's expecting you to go in your pocket.
Right.
But you have connections.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing, is that he had Shaq lined up and some other high-profile guys. So
he was going to use his connections.
So Bethune-Cookman needs to realize that, hey, these guys, they have friends that can help you, because let's just call it what it is, man. Some of them may make some donations out of the goodness of their heart, but a lot of them, they have donations that they're going to make for tax purposes.
Of course.
And they can put those donations wherever they want, but they'd rather put them with their friends.
Right. Right.
Does that make
Right.
sense? So these charitable donations that are going to be listed as tax write-offs for individuals or their businesses or their institutions or whatever the case may be, they can go wherever they're steered.
Right. Right. And it happens all
the time.
And Dion showed even beyond my connections. Hey, school needs uniforms. Okay, I have the influence at Nike. Let's get it done.
Right.
Like, the amount of resources and apparel that a company like Nike could give would be more than any other friend that he would have would be able to dig in their pocket and get. And that's what, now you're talking about Dion's reach. Just consider like a Ed Reed, his reach, or a Shannon, if you want to use it, his reach, a Jerry Rice. And he's
right.
Like, and then we talk about the conditions of HBCUs and athletics when it could be resolved by guys who not just got to that level, but guys who got to that level through HBCUs.
Right.
So, and I'm looking at it and I didn't even notice the athletic director, the basketball coach and athletic director is Reggie Theus. I was like, I didn't even know Reggie Theus was that. But why would you not know that he's at a Bethune-Cookman? It's because he hasn't tried to use his resources or connections to make the school any better. Now, these are guys that are trying to be enriched themselves, but are you really trying to make the school any better, not just for athletics, but just the general school? And so I felt like he came back at him like that because he was called, you were challenged
right
on something you should have done. Now, if you're Uncle Shay Shay, and again, I like Shannon a little bit. If you're Uncle Shay Shay, you can go sit at a Lakers game,
right,
courtside
with a designer sweater,
and
all this.
If you're big
stuff,
and bad enough to talk to
Jay Moran's
playing
daddy.
athletes,
right?
Like you're a fanboy at this point. You're big and bad enough to talk to, playing athletes a certain way. Just handle your responsibilities across the board. And you won't have to shut people down like that. See it as a challenge.
Right.
You know what, Ed, you're right.
So I'm gonna do this.
So I'm gonna do this. And not only am I'm gonna use my influence going forward to do this.
But I mean, that's not what he wants to do. He just wants to go back and forth with Skip over some Mountain Dew cases.
And then that's another thing. You'll shut Ed down like that. And Skip handles you.
Buried you. He buried you. He buried you.
And you go back and again shuffling for the man.
It was painful.
Again, I just take and I take offense to that kind of stuff because the way that Shannon Sharpe would handle, Ed Reed is not how he would handle Skip Bayless.
And that's my struggle because I want to like Shannon Sharpe. I did at one point, but it seems like these things is kind of like, man,
keep popping up.
It keep popping up, and I'm kind of like, bruh, what are you doing? And not that he's a bad person or anything, but I just look at the decisions and kind of how he goes at different people, different ways, in different situations, and
I don't like
to use your friend.
Yeah, I'm tell you this could be. I'm struggling. I don't like Stephen A.
No, we've established that.
I'm struggling with Shannon. I don't like Charles Barkley.
Oh yeah, Chuck.
You're the biggest idiot in the world, but you walk around calling people idiot. He called Kyrie an idiot for sharing a link to something.
He's just reading off the card. I got to
again. My thing is okay.
I feel like that.
I don't like your boy.
Who?
I don't like Jason Whitlock.
Who said Jason Whitlock was my boy?
Yes, your boy. I don't like your boy.
That's not my boy.
But that's the only thing.
You just got upset. You projected that because I never even heard of the guy until you brought him up.
That's the only thing that the position he has taken that I like. Jason Whitlock's like, I'm not going to go along to get along.
Right. And you got to respect that part.
And you got to respect that.
You got to respect
If I don't feel it to be right, then I'm not going to do it. And I think a lot of these black commentators are going along to get along, and they're saying things that are out of pocket and that kind of stuff, whatever. And it has a bigger effect than they know of. So, like, you got a community who's looking for you to be that voice of reason, but you're nothing but a,
minstrel.
You're a puppet now.
To use Jason Whitlock's terms, the minstrel show. So
you're a puppet and somebody else is pulling the strings.
But you're a minstrel in a Maserati.
But
you're a clown in a Kulinan.
But if I'm going to be enriched, but if I'm going to make the overall picture of my people worse,
well. See, here's the deal. This is where I'll go ahead and bring in Dr. Umar Johnson. His take on Shannon Sharpe is that, hey, Shannon Sharpe don't even deal with black women. So how much does he really care about the black community? And I'm not levying that. I'm just relating, because Umar, is always going to come with that criticism. He said that he hopes. Now, here's my deal. He's from Philadelphia or lives in Philadelphia. Right. You would think that he would naturally cheer for the Eagles, right?
Right.
Well, he said that he hopes that the Eagles win, not because he's from Philly, not because he's a fan of the Eagles, none of that, but because Mahomes is married to a white woman.
But see, he
doesn't want Mahomes to win.
Right.
So go Eagles because I'm against this over here, and Jalen Hurts deals with a black woman.
See, and here's why I don't like
It should be,
Umar.
hey, I'm from Philly. Right. Philly's my home team. Go Eagles, right?
Here's why I don't like Umar.
Oh, well, there's a multitude of reasons.
A grand multitude.
Right.
Why are you tripping with Mahomes on that?
Right. We're still looking for.
Because that's still.
Where's the school, man?
Where's the money?
Where is the money? Where is the school? Right. One or the other.
Produce one of them.
One or the other, buddy.
But again, you're tripping with Mahomes about that. That's part of his. He could be with a white woman, and that's still part of who he is.
Correct. Right, because he's comes from a blended heritage.
So, what you're doing, you got bigger fish to fry. You need to tell these people what you did with their money.
Right.
That,
and give out some lashes to yourself.
38 lashes.
No, you didn't see that thing that he was talking about, 5,000 lashes to this person, pop, pop,
him
pop.
on.
All that different stuff.
I don't, and I don't like it again because it has bigger implications. I saw Stephen A. Smith go at Jason Williams for defending Kyrie. Mm-hmm. Hey man, you're an independent contractor. Any athlete, you're an independent contractor. You can choose to be or not be wherever you want to be or not be. Mm-hmm. No, nobody says anything when teams get rid of players.
Right.
But when players decide, I just don't want to be connected to that team anymore, then it's a big issue. Because you're the slave.
Right. You can't walk off the plantation. What's the matter with you?
You turn your back on master? How you do?
Right.
And that's the and so you're purporting that makes you look even worse. Mm-hmm. And here's what we're gonna do for you, Stephen A. When you make other folk like that look bad, we'll give you a book.
Right.
Somebody's like, you gonna read Stephen A. book? I don't want to hear him talk. Why would I read his book? But that's the that's the benefit of being
and that's why they have these guys in these positions. It's an element to influence the African American culture.
Right.
Here's your boy. Here's your guy. We're gonna put him up. He's got a nice suit. Every I ain't seen him wear the same suit twice. You see what I'm saying? And got all this different stuff. So here's your guy that you guys like. Okay, now we're gonna feed our narrative, and it's gonna come through his voice.
Right.
And so then we want you to accept it.
Absolutely.
We want you to accept it because it came from someone that looks like you. Looks like you, sounds like you, acts like you.
Absolutely.
You know, with that Pookie and Ray Ray stuff on the sideline.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like you, acts like you. Oh, yeah. That's my boy, Shannon, Uncle Shay. Oh, yeah, Shay. So
I don't get it.
That's the deal. So then it's like, hey, that's the perfect pipeline to make your narrative agreeable to the people that you're,
right,
wanting to influence or control.
Right.
So that's what they're always going to have. A couple of those guys around to use for their intended purpose. Yeah, that's how you get the Malika Andrews situation.
Right.
We talked about that, before. Okay, hey, we got this narrative we want to push. We're gonna put
2 for 1. Let me go get a black woman.
Right.
If this ever gets to Dion, please pull Shannon to the side and try to speak some common sense.
Oh, you can't do that. That's not gonna happen because Shannon's getting the bag. That's why he didn't say nothing. Basically, when Skip humiliated him on national television. He got upset and ruffled his feathers, took off his glasses, walked off the set, didn't show up. But guess what? He came in.
Came right back.
Because you know what? When he got out the studio, he got in his car, paid for with money from Fox Sports 1. He started it because of gas that was in the tank because of Fox Sports 1. He drove down the road and got to a house that was paid for, in part, by money from Fox Sports 1. Walked into his closet where he likes to show off his special edition Jordans and all his different stuff, and his boy hooked him up with all that different stuff, and he looked around that palatial estate. This was paid for by money from Fox Sports 1.
Fox Sports 1.
Say it again?
He had bread before.
No, I know he did, but in part. But what I'm saying is that when the music stops, it's a different story. You got to make different life decisions when you have only the money that you have, and you got to make that last for as long as you.
Yeah, you got to stand up for something at some point.
I agree. If you don't stand for anything, you fall for everything. Yeah. I totally get. But I'm just saying, maybe he fell for it. Maybe he fell for the okie doke, and it's like, hey, look, what we'll do is this: we're gonna pay you this chunk of money, but you say what we tell you to say and do what we tell you to do. And that's the order of things. And if you take that deal, and that's what it is. But see, Dave Chappelle talked about it. Jim Carrey talked about it. They're going to come to you at a certain point, and they're going to make you this offer. And it's going to come with a lot of money, fame, this, that, third. But strings are attached.
A bunch of them. See, in this regard, man, I hope Ed and Bethune-Cookman can come to some resolve. One, because I feel like he can do a lot of good on the campus, and then two,
that won't happen.
Because there are a lot of kids.
Maybe somewhere else, maybe another place, another time. But these guys, they're too embarrassed to admit, because for them to bring him back, they'd have to admit that they're wrong.
They don't have to. Students have already said Ed's right.
It doesn't matter. They don't care. Then now, anytime something happens, all they got to do is protest and complain a little bit, and it sets a bad precedent from the power structure of the administration.
You know what's the worst precedent?
They can't allow it to happen.
You know what's a worse precedent? Mm-hmm. Your enrollment dropping by 50%.
But I'm just telling you, there's some people that would rather be kings over ashes. You see what I'm saying? Than a prince, over something of substance.
This is just sad for him.
I'm just telling you, because that's how these guys operate.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Ed Reed went about everything in the right way, the most professional way, obviously. And I'm pretty sure he probably agree that hindsight being 2020, he could have gone about it in a different way.
And he's already verbalized that, apologized for that, said some other things
But they'll always be able to say, nope, see, he's unprofessional. We can't do it. We can't.
But who didn't know Ed Reed was, had that switch?
But and this is what I don't understand. I get he's passionate. I get for the students, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I guess things are different whenever you got long money like that. But who is showing up? You don't have a signed, employment contract, pay plan, all this different stuff, and you're doing work.
See, I think what happened was, he was already involved in the area. They announced him as the head coach, that they were, working out a deal. It would, they had already agreed in terms to what the deal was going to look like. And immediately, again, this is not, some major D1 situation. It's a small school. I get it. So immediately he's getting hit by players, much like Dion did at Jackson State. Mm-hmm. Getting hit by players. He's coming there moving. So you got kids that are leaving major D1 situations to go play. The vision. Yeah. Not because they want to play for Bethune-Cookman.
Right. They want to play for Ed Reed.
They want to play for Ed Reed.
No, I totally get it.
And now that they've transferred or entered transfer portals, and now you're going to say, well, Ed's not coming. It's you can't uncrack the egg.
Right. Can't unbake the cake.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Ain't no backwards jumps in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? And so now what has been done can't be undone. So you leave kids in the balance. Whatever he exposed, now you got students in an uproar. Mm-hmm. You got parents that...
I get all that, but I'm just like, man, how could you make
I just think for our culture, it would be easier to just fix what's broke.
Oh, I agree. That would definitely be easier. But then who's got the leverage in the situation? Ed Reed. And they can't stand for that, no matter what. No matter what, because they can't give away their power. They can't give it to Ed Reed. They can't give it to the students.
And nobody else.
Because they don't care.
Then who stands to lose?
As long as they can drive a Mercedes-Benz to the nicest restaurant on the nicest part of town and be regarded as Regent so-and-so and President so-and-so and Chairperson so-and-so. Because you got to understand.
Some of those Benzes are people, going back to dealerships.
Well, no.
If this student enrollment drops.
Well, not necessarily, because the people that have these positions, they have these positions. They're successful in business or this or that. They have other things that have made them wealthy. This makes them important. Having these offices, it's about control and power and prestige. It's not about the money they make, the cash that the check that they cash from the institution. It's about power and prestige. Who you are in the community. Chairperson so-and-so. You see, that's what I'm telling you. They don't care. They don't care. As long as they still have the parking spot with their name on it. If the enrollment drops in half, they don't care. They don't care. So I'm just
the regent chair of a school of 21 students.
It doesn't matter if they could be over a school of fish, as long as they have the title and the parking spot, and they can go to the meetings. I'm just telling you, some of these guys think like this because that's what it's all about. It's not about progress; it's about power and prestige.
This is just horrible, and I think it's been exacerbated by people like Shannon Sharpe.
Correct, because it gives license.
Hey, if you don't
now
know
it's like, hey, look, Shannon Sharpe agrees with us.
Right. If you don't know what's going on, just hush. Just hush. Just like this, just hush. Talk about something else that you do know about.
And I mean, Shannon has a tremendous platform, which is why he doesn't want to share it with Ed Reed. Even his little platform, because he's got the big platform that he gets from Fox Sports 1. Now he's not going to be scoot over, Skip. Let Ed Reed sit in your chair so we can talk.
Invite him on the podcast.
Correct. Then he can do that.
And then y'all talk.
Correct.
Two successful African-American athletes.
And that's where it should be.
That both desire good for kids that end up going to HBCU.
That's where it should be at a minimum, is at least have them on the podcast. Because you ran your mouth, through media. Don't DM me, man.
Right.
Don't
Put
DM.
it out there.
Yeah, no. Don't DM me. Let's talk.
Right.
That's why Ed Reed was like, if you look at the screenshots, it doesn't take long. You can Google it really easily, because I'm looking at it right now. And it's like, dude, we live in a screenshot era.
Right.
You should know.
Right.
That anything that you send electronically Just assume that it's been screenshot, copied, pasted, audio recorded,
and sent
everywhere. Everybody got it. Just assume that. If you told anybody, you told everybody. Just assume that.
He'd have been better just whatever he was going to DM him, just putting it out.
Right. Open letter to such and such, or tagged him, or this or that. Because, come on, man. Especially this right here. Y'all aren't really on the best terms right now because of what happened. Why would you think
he's going to save this?
Right. Oh, well, that's private conversation. But it's 2023. That's over.
No such thing as private conversation. Wow.
So, discretion's a better part of valor. It ain't here.
Right. Well, hopefully we can get beyond this, because the only people that stand to lose are these kids at Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, because no underclassmen or any student shouldn't have to deal with mold,
right?
Right. and mildew, right, and all kinds of different stuff, and right, at a major university, man. I mean, really anywhere, but right, you would think that it's like, man, people are paying to go here.
Right.
I mean, this isn't.
Right.
People are paying to go here. What are you doing with the money?
These are the questions that he was asking. That
and see, Shannon Sharpe is basically like, look, man, it you should have known what you're getting into. And hey, man, they're all underfunded. Like it's okay.
Right.
Like it's okay.
Right.
Yeah. Because
how much money have you given back to Savannah State?
Because he said, Shannon Sharpe speaks on the Ed Reed situation. You can call any coach. Prairie View, Alcorn is probably worse at those institutions than at Bethune-Cookman. If Ed would have given it time, improvements would have been made. Now, I have, alumni and current students of PV. I've never heard anything
not like that,
like this. So I would say, survey says,
right. And then he said, give it time. Ed, the video that really blew it up was Ed complaining about having adequate practice facilities.
So how long?
Give it time.
How much time you need?
What are you talking about? Give it time. If we can't practice, it's going to affect how we play.
You wouldn't say that if you showed up to the studio at Fox Sports 1
and it was grass everywhere.
Yeah, you didn't have adequate lighting. You didn't have the right cameras. Right. You didn't have this or that. And they want to broadcast this product. You're looking at it like, this is subpar. Like, guys, this is a major sports network. You would be offended.
What if somebody said, no, just give it time?
Just give it time.
And that's what it made no sense.
Oh, and by the way, you're not getting paid to be here. You have to pay to be here.
Right.
On the student side of things.
Right.
So does that, so come on, man. You wouldn't accept that.
I think Shannon overspoke, and instead of retracting, he did that, and he overspoke because he had a wire in his back that was placed by the powers that be, and and again, until we get ahead of this, I just hate to see it be the system use people like Shannon and Stephen, and when you could do so much good, push come to shove, be rolling more and create your own self space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then you'll be able to call a spade a spade.
He looks like he's doing all right. He looks like he's doing just fine.
Yeah. Hey, my hero. Do your thing. Create your own space, and you can call it what it is, and not
then
have to worry about
being beholden
to anyone.
Right. But that's hard. It's a lot easier to just take the money. That's really easy.
So when did we ever do things that were easy? We've been doing things that are hard, harder.
Right. I agree.
That's not a good. No, I'm not diming them out for that. No.
No, I'm not saying that it's right.
With that one.
I'm saying it's right now. I'm saying this is what's happening.
Oh man.
So.
Man. Again, I thoughts and prayers for the students and athletes of Bethune-Cookman. Ed will be fine. He'll figure it out either way.
Oh, yeah.
And Shannon, if he doesn't get on the straight and narrow, he'll be, it's cancel culture. We ain't gonna put up with too much of that, before Shannon is a thing of the past. So Do you have anything else going on this week that you want to shout out?
After this airs, so the February the 19th, we'll be going to celebrate the first anniversary of Pastor Clement Hall in Bay City. Yeah, he's the pastor at Mother Zion Missionary Baptist Church.
Man, congratulations.
Yeah, man. So we're excited to go and celebrate with him. Pastor Lee Skinner, my pastor, will be preaching that occasion.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So we're going to go
congratulations, Pastor Hall. I knew his, the guy he succeeded.
His predecessor? Yeah. Murray Martin.
Who's a good friend and brother, and that's a great church.
Pastor at Holman Street.
Yeah. Mother Zion's a great church in a great area. Mm-hmm. So best wishes to him and that church. Mm-hmm. I'll be with Sweet Home and Greg on the 26th, the week after the 19th.
Okay.
At 9 a.m.
On the 19th, or you said the week after?
No, the week after.
The week after that. Okay, gotcha.
They'll be celebrating his anniversary. I don't know how many years this is for Greg.
I can't remember.
Definitely more than one.
More than 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I can't. Right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. No matter what you say.
He been doing this a minute. So,
many years.
Yeah.
A multitude of years.
Yeah. It's unique for me always because, Greg is, friend and brother, and it's good to be with, celebrate those days with, people you're close to.
Yes. Yeah, I've
congratulations
been able to celebrate in the past. So. Yeah. Is it going to be afternoon or is it morning?
9 a.m. I believe.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'll definitely send you the flyer.
Mm-hmm.
And so congratulations to Collins and Sweet Home, another year of pastoral service to the community. I'll roll it out next week. There's a lot of information that I received. Thank God for Tasha Jackson. She has a faith-based leadership alliance and trying to do some things in Northeast Houston through that. And so there's some other things that are happening as far as job fairs, opportunities, business opportunities for those that desire. And so I'll be rolling that information out. If you live anywhere in Northeast Houston, definitely keep your ear to the street on all the things that we're trying to get accomplished in Northeast Houston. And prayerfully, we can make our community that much better over the course of the next couple of years or so. And that's all I can think of. That's all I can think of. Again, thank you for joining us. Share, whether you're watching us on Apple, if you're a part of our Apple Podcast or watching us on YouTube, Spotify, whatever, please share the platform. If you follow us on any social media platform, share, and then comment. We want to hear your comments. I want someone other than myself to tell Shawn how wrong he is. And then over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll give a sufficient congratulations to the GOAT.
You kind of came over. Oh no! Oh, see, you started off good.
Yeah, the GOAT.
Now, I just want to remind you that there's an entire Hall of Fame career that still separates LeBron and Michael Jordan. An entire Hall of Fame career. If you were to have an imaginary player that won 2 NBA championships, they got 2 Finals MVPs, they got a Defensive Player of the Year, a regular season MVP, 4 all-defensive first teams, 9 scoring titles, 3 stealing titles, and 2 slam dunk titles. Just that alone, that person would probably be qualified to be in the Hall of Fame. And that right there is what separates LeBron from
let me ask you this:
from Michael Jordan.
Is that person in the
that person doesn't exist. I'm saying the person that would do that, that is the difference between what Michael Jordan's his resume for the GOAT. That's what LeBron is missing. That's what he's away from Jordan. He's missing 2 rings, missing 2 Finals MVPs, missing or short.
He's not done.
I get it.
All of that
I'm just telling you.
It's fluff. At this point,
there's no fluff. There's an entire Hall of Fame career.
I got a video I'm going to send you.
Send me a video.
I know.
I don't know what did the video win 2 rings?
No, somebody sent it to me, and it was so funny because they were saying that LeBron had to face competition like Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony, while Michael Jordan faced competition like Dan Marley and Craig Elo.
What about Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas?
Man, we did this already. Michael Jordan's first championship was the last time Magic was in the finals. I'm just saying, hey, listen, the man is number 1 scoring and in the top, what?
Yeah, but he had to do 330,
they played the same amount of years.
Extra games.
No, it's actually less games than Kareem.
No, than Jordan.
So it's our fault that Michael Jordan has a gambling problem and had to retire for a couple of years.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying then?
What I'm saying is that just because you did it longer doesn't mean you did it better.
Not only did you do it better, you did it better and longer. So anyway, LeBron's go. Hey, please, somebody other than me tell.
He's not. Everybody. That's why nobody's telling you. I mean, because no one agrees with you. It's just not there. It's just not there.
Okay. Well,
other than people that are involved in the current machine to get behind LeBron in order to market the NBA.
You said machine. Like we got meetings.
What I'm saying is that you have to promote the guy that's now.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you do. You want to sell tickets now. You want to promote the league now. So there's people that are always going to be whoever's now is the best. Just for the simple fact that they're what's going on right now.
But that's not my take because he's not.
Well, I didn't say that was your take, but I'm saying that there are those.
Okay.
You know, there are those.
Well, we won't call him the GOAT. Are you okay? He's the.
I'm okay either way. You can call him whatever you want to call him.
He's the scoring leader. He got that last night.
I mean, all day.
Congratulations to LeBron, Ramon James for being score leader and being, I think, 3 all-time assist leader.
It's great. It's so happy for him.
Yeah. Great job.
I mean, he's a great player. Like it doesn't take away from him being a great player. But he's just not the greatest of all time.
He's not the greatest of all time. You know, his last night, I'm going to say this and we're going to go. Hey, last night when he won, his wife was there. And his kids, his boys and his girl. You know, he's only been married once.
What does that have to do with that?
I mean, I thought that was your thing.
Right, but what's that have to do with the game of basketball?
I thought that was your thing. I was just highlighting that he's a family guy.
No, that's great. He can be a family guy. I watched that show too.
Is Michael still with his first wife? Anyway, we're gonna go. Shannon's gonna find a reason. We're gonna go.
I mean, I don't have to find it. It's right there. It's not like I have to dig it up. I mean, come on, man. You're reaching really.
That's your thing. I was just highlighting your thing. That he's a family guy.
Well, no, that's nice. I'm happy for him. Which I heard that may not be the case.
Raise his kids.
We keep on living. That may not be the case for very long.
Oh, listen.
You know, I'm just saying.
Listen, thank you for joining us while I continue to try to get some common sense into Sean's head. Again, share, and we'll see you next week. Listen, watch out for each other. Pray for each other. All we have of each other. Until we see you again next week. Grace and peace.